Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Tom Noske. I'm a filmmaker, photographer, and digital artist based out of Melbourne, Australia, and I've teamed up with Canon Australia to bring you guys some of my favorite tips as far as editing in Premiere, Lightroom, and Photoshop. Things that I use on a daily basis and things that I'm sure you guys will be able to use and hopefully take away to continue creating even whilst we're all stuck in lockdown. Today's video is covering Premiere Pro and video editing. These are 4 tips that I recommend every beginner, intermediate, and even some advanced people begin to consider every single time they open a new project and begin editing a video. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Here is today's video. Tip number 1 is a pretty basic one, but one that I don't see a lot of people utilizing, and that is actually learn your aspect ratios and the dimensions associated with each aspect ratio. Nothing gets on my nerves more in this industry than people using those notorious cinematic black bars. It's pure laziness. Learn your aspect ratios for the resolution that you want to edit at and change it in your sequence settings by going to sequence settings and changing it here. There is a reason why aspect ratios are the dimensions that they are. So pick aspect ratios that work for your particular project and work with those dimensions for your project. Having black bars baked into an export is a telltale sign of a beginner and an easy way to look like an amateur when you're delivering a video to a client. So if you want to look professional, if you don't want to look like a complete beginner delivering a video, please do not deliver a video with cinematic black bars. Some of my personal favorite aspect ratios that I work at in a lot of my projects is 2.39 by 1, which is the cinematic widescreen format that you're looking at right now. This is the aspect ratio that I use on my cinematic edits, on my travel videos, on my client work that's more professional and high-end. This is an aspect ratio that can really give you a nice professional look. My second favorite aspect ratio, another aspect ratio that I work at with a lot of my videos, is 2 by 1. This is an aspect ratio that I use for my YouTube videos and the aspect ratio that you're looking at right now. The reason why I use this aspect ratio is it fills an iPhone screen really easily. And the last aspect ratio is one that you're watching this video on right now, and that is 16 by 9, and this is the classic aspect ratio that you'll see used on 90% of videos that you'll watch online. To stay consistent, I have a folder dedicated on my desktop to my aspect ratio cheat sheets. I use this just to make sure I remember from project to project, or if I need to say edit a video in 1080p and I usually edit in 4K, then I'll know the aspect ratio to link those 2 projects together and make sure it's consistent. Because I really don't like using the black bars for that reason, because your projects can look different from project to project and there's no real consistency in the look and style. Whereas if you're actually using the dimensions associated with cinematic aspect ratios, then the videos are going to be consistent. Tip number 2 is create a select sequence. One of the most crucial steps at the beginning of any of my edits is the select sequence. It's what allows me to get all of my clips out on the table in front of me and recognize what I do and what I don't have, and be confident going into my edit knowing that I'm creating the best video that I can with the footage that I shot. To do this, I like to import all of my footage into a footage folder in my project panel and then create a sequence titled selects. I then select all of my footage and make sure all of the footage is the same frame rate as the sequence setting, so I don't have any jumpy footage in my project. You can do this by selecting your footage, then right-clicking and going to modify, then down to interpret footage and setting the frame rate to the frame rate of your sequence settings. This will ensure that all of your footage is going to be nice and smooth. Once you've done this, drag and drop all of your footage into the timeline and begin watching through to find the best clips that you want to keep and delete what you won't be using. Here's a couple little things that I use on every single project to help speed up this process. I've custom set the function ripple delete to the X key on my keyboard. So as I'm watching through the footage, all I need to do is cut the footage where I want to end the clip and select the tail end of the clip and hit X. What this will do is remove the extra footage from the timeline and shift the entire timeline back in its place. All you need to do this is go up to Premiere Pro, down to keyboard shortcuts, and custom set that to the X key. I also organize my select sequence in 2 ways: color coordination and a rating system. My color coordination works like this. I have a color dedicated to the 3 common types of shots in my projects: tights, mids, and wides. This helps me select a clip at a glance that will work best for a particular moment. You can also use this system to characterize your footage, or if your project has multiple camera angles of the same thing, you could use this to differentiate between cameras. I then also layer my favorite shots. For okay shots that may get used, they stay on channel 1. For great shots, they go to channel 2, and for the best shots, the clips that I need to use, they go to channel 3. Also making my life a lot easier when I begin crafting drafting the final edit. Once you're done making your selects, drag your selects timeline to a separate panel so you can easily drag and drop your clips into your final sequence. Tip number 3 is learn your keyboard shortcuts. Command S. Press this one a lot. P for the pen tool, V for the selection tool, C for the razor tool, A for track select forward tool, I to make an in point, O to make an out point, the full screen button, and X for ripple delete. Tip number 4 is find ways to be creative with your transitions. This doesn't mean whip pans and doing crazy actions in camera. This simply means being creative with what clip goes after which clip. If this means that you're having a similar focal point from clip to clip, say someone's walking in a certain direction and they continue walking in a certain direction after that clip, maybe you sync up their strides, maybe you sync up, say, a punch in one clip leads into a punch in the next, or whatever you can from clip to clip. Make sure you're being creative with how you sync these up. It can really, really make a difference to not only making your edit easier for the viewer to watch, but it also helps push the story along. If there's genuine direction in the way that you edit, then that's only going to make your videos seem more professional and better to the viewer watching them. If your edits just end up as a mess, as something that doesn't really make any sense and there's no cohesion from clip to clip, then a viewer's just going to sit there watching it wondering why they're really watching the video. So make sure you focus on this every single time you edit. It's only going to help your work come across more professional. And the last thing that I wanted to cover quickly in this video is don't chase trends. Do your best to be unique. Do your best to figure out what genre draws you in the most. For me, for example, I really don't like the highly stylistic, really fast-paced, nauseating travel films. There's nothing against that. I think it takes a lot of talent, but that doesn't speak to me as a creator. I'm not entertained by those videos and I don't enjoy editing in that style. I've been asked to edit in that style in the past and it just about destroyed me. I enjoy documentary style. I enjoy a slow, more methodical pace where you let your clips speak to the viewer, where you let your clips draw out and show the beauty of every single scene. But that's just me. That's my personal preference, and I've realized over years of filmmaking that that is the style that I prefer to keep to. So don't be afraid if you begin editing and you really don't enjoy a particular style that's popular right now. Don't be afraid if the style that you enjoy isn't as popular right now. Maybe you draw inspiration from different movies or slower paced movies or documentary filmmaking or whatever it is that you draw your inspiration from. Don't be afraid to go in the direction that you genuinely enjoy creating in, because that's only going to lead to better work down the line, and the people that actually enjoy your work will find you regardless of the style that you're creating in. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you took something away from it. Thanks again for Canon Australia for having me on, and I'll see you guys in the next one.